President Donald Trump has been indicted, not one time, not two times, 3 times, so many times I lost count. This never happened before for a president, former president, to be indicted. This is the first ever in history. And I just want to read a tweet that someone sent to me, and I want to read this tweet. And someone said this, quote, "There's something wrong with America when black men that are profiled and convicted can no longer vote, but a twice impeached white man criminally indicted 3 times can still run for the president of the United States." And many people are saying, "Oh, Wiley, he can't run." Brother, you don't know. You have not read the Constitution. There is no section in the Constitution that forbids President Trump to run for president. There is no section in the Constitution that forbid him to be the new, to get elected, right? There is no law on the books that say that if he get convicted of a crime and get a prison sentence, that will forbid him to run. If you want him out, let's say for instance, to help this argument, let's say he get elected, he win, boom, he get convicted of all these charges, got to serve hundreds of years in prison. In order to remove him from office, you got to look at the Constitution. The only way to remove him is for him to be impeached. But it's a little flaky because the House will have to impeach him, and it goes to the Senate, and they do the trial. If the Senate say no, which they're going to say no, because if he win in 2024, there is a guarantee that Trump will have more support in the House, and he may have more support in the Senate. It could be Republicans taking over the House and the Senate in 2024. It could be. So if that's the case, then it's highly unlikely he will be removed. Let's say if he get convicted and all of that, it will be a special circumstance when you've never seen him before. Then maybe he'll get some type of probation, or he would just be at the White House, and they'll probably say, okay, we will let him serve out his presidency, and then he will have to go and go to prison, and he could pardon himself for those federal charges. Now, state probably different. He can't do that, but he can pardon himself on the federal level. That's the power that he has. It's in office, and the Supreme Court will side with him because it's in his constitutional power to do it. Because the way that it's written, he can do it. So that's how to go. And then people say, well, the Constitution didn't predict that a president would be committing crime. They didn't predict that. They did. It was many presidents that were committing crime. They were having slavery. It was so much crime. It's your definition of what is a crime is. Okay. But at the end of the day, what is he criminal? Yeah. So he have been indicted. He's not been convicted yet. He's been indicted of multiple charges. I mean, he was telling people from the Department of Justice to talk to electors to get them to change their mind. He had lawyers trying to do this. He told people at Mar-a-Lago to delete the videotape. It's a lot that he tried to do. But with that being said, I ran a poll with my audience. I did. I ran a poll, and on my community wall, and I asked my audience, I said, if the election was held today, who will you vote for? If you had 2 choices, I put Donald Trump and I put Joe Biden. 51% said Donald Trump. 49% said Joe Biden. What this poll is telling me is that the media is painting this picture that is over for Trump, and that's not the reality. Because even when I look at their polls of him running in the primaries, he's still dominating the field over 53, 54%. Don't nobody come close to him. So there is no Republican yet that is up there with Trump. And because people vote for what they see a lot of Trump. And you got to understand, this is not a general election yet. We're talking about primaries. And for Trump base, they are engaged, they are entertained, and the Iowa caucus is not into next year, I believe. When is the Iowa caucus? Give me a second. I want to make sure. The Republican Iowa caucus, I believe. Okay. Give me a second there. I believe that is. Give me a second. I want to make sure I get it on here. All right. Let's see. That to me, I think January 15th is the Iowa caucus, if I'm not mistaken. They're saying right here, next year, Iowa Republican presidential caucus will be held in mid-January, about 3 weeks earlier than the past two primary cycles. State GOP officials announced Saturday. The first in the nation caucus will take place on January 15th, 2024, following a vote from the Iowa State Republican Party Central Committee. January 15th, Monday, is a federal holiday, Martin Luther King Day. That's earlier than in both 2020 and 2016 when the caucus was held the first Monday in February, but it's about 2 weeks later than 2020, 2008. So got into January. And I don't see a candidate that's actually doing it. And for the thing is, I need to see where they're at. And Trump is leading in every state right now. For all of the caucus he's leading. We shall see. But it will not surprise me if Trump wins the nomination. There is no other candidate that I can name that's going toe to toe with President Trump. Now you hear Mike Pence saying that his lawyers, that I believe in the Constitution. Now you hearing Mike Pence talking and trying to grow some cojones, but it's too late. You should have done this the day Trump told you to do this. What you should have did, resigned. You should have resigned, or you should have implemented the 25th Amendment. Let me make sure where they say he's incompetent. Give me a second. I'm going to make sure. All right. The 25th Amendment says in case of a removal of president for office, or death, or resignation, the vice president show they should have did that. Or just saying, hey, I believe it's the 25th Amendment that he could have implemented or tried to say that he was incompetent or something. And I believe that if his administration, if most of his advisors just with power side with Vice President Pence, he could have done it. He didn't do any of that. Pence would have to come out with all Trump dirt to even have a chance at the nomination. And he's not doing it because he had a chance to side with Democrats to pretty much tell his administration, call for a meeting to vote Trump out. But he didn't do that. He had a perfect opportunity. Soon when January 6th happened, Vice President Pence should have said, "Hey, let's get him out. Let's vote. Let's get him out. Let's get all of the people. Let's get the cabinet members together, and let get the cabinet and you need majority of them to side with you, and they could just remove President Trump from office." He didn't do it. He didn't get the cabinet. He didn't do it. He actually annoyed Nancy Pelosi phone calls when she said, "Hey, you need to do this," but he didn't do it. So now you're trying to run, and Mike Pence. Let's look at it really quickly. Mike Pence. Okay. Give me a second. Let's see. Primary polls here. And this is on the New York Times. This is like the big one. 54% said Donald Trump. DeSantis 17%. Mike Pence, 3%. Tim Scott, 3%. Christie, 2%. Like, this ain't. Oh, and we thought Ron was going to be the one, but Ron messed up because Trump is going to use everything that Ron passed in Florida is going to make fun of him. He don't believe in slavery, and I know he's part of the KKK. He don't believe it. And the African Americans, they love me, Ron. They love me. I would never take African American history. African American have built this country from the ground up. And you said, Ron, believe me, you said it. I know you said it, Ron. You said that slavery, that the slaves, they learned skills. Believe me, the slaves were enslaved. They worked till night, the sun was out until the sun set. They didn't make any money. Slavery was wrong in this country. Wrong. It was wrong. It was so wrong. And African Americans, they knew it was wrong. And you, Ron, it's dangerous. You should not be president. You know, it's just not gonna work. It's not going to work. I think Ron, with his strategy, is outdated. And Trump never passed any policies that extreme saying, let's get Black history out of schools. He didn't have no policy like that. So he helped fund HBCUs, even though it was some Democrats that sponsored the bill, but he helped with criminal justice reform. So Trump done a lot. He helped get a lot of Black men out of prison. So Ron ain't got a good track record with Black folks. And that's one of his major weaknesses that Trump is going to feed into because Trump, when we was talking last night and people were shocked that Black men, that he got most of his Black male support, and that it is articles that said Democrats have been losing Black men vote every cycle. They have been losing that support from Black men. Some Black men are abandoning the Democratic Party and they're jumping to the Republican Party. And so and they have been losing it ever since 2012. And so and they really lost it with Hillary, because Black men don't want to see women in power. They don't want to see it. They don't want to see women in power. They don't want to see a woman president. That's why they did not vote for Hillary Clinton like that. So we shall see. They are losing when it comes to Black men. Black men do not see it for President Biden. They are loving Trump. And if Trump have a strong message to Black men, Democrats will lose. Democrats have been taking the Black vote for granted for decades, but they definitely been taking for granted the Black male vote for decades, for generations. And so now Republicans see a weakness that, oh my gosh, that we are now getting Black men to vote for us. And so we got to cater towards that base. That's why they did something with criminal justice reform. A lot of Republicans, they did something with criminal justice reform. Now Trump made sure to pardon a lot of Black people. So that's going to be something. If it lasts around with Black folks, if Black men go to in the 70 percentile, Republicans sweep. They cannot win. In order for Democrats to stay in power, Black men must stay with Black women at the 90%, 80 to 90, like 89 to 90%. If they take and it dropped down to in the 70%, that's it. They done. You lost. You can't do it. Let me see. I'm going to try to find that article that I was reading last night, because this was on NBC. And you could even go to BBC really quickly. That U.S. election, they said, while Trump gained support among minorities, they said a Republican president gained 6% point among black men, 5 percentage points among Hispanic women. It means some voters changed their minds after either not voting or not voting for another candidate in 2016. But it tells us something about Trump's unique appeal. I was definitely more liberal growing up. My grandmother was big in the civil rights movement here in Texas during the 60s, and I grew up with that ideology. They said this a person that was a graduate student from Houston, Texas, mixed heritage, Mexican. He said he didn't vote in 2016, and he is a loyal to either major party. But this time around, he decided to cast his vote for the Republicans. The first time Trump ran, I really wasn't convinced. I just thought, here's this celebrity talk show host guy that wants to run for president. I didn't take him seriously. So I was not a Trump supporter the first time he ran. To be honest, I thought he was a ringer for Hillary, so I just wasn't interested. He told BBC News. But he said, upbringing in Texas influences view on both political parties. People forget Texas used to be a blue. And people forget that they do. Pro-Democrat state, he said. The blue here wasn't like the progressives that we think of now. They were more like old school Southern Democrats, very racist, very intolerant. So it's a totally different party. And I experienced growing up a lot of racism. They said, so let me scroll down here. And this is something, man, where what black men are supporting. Black men support some more support for Trump rises among minorities. He have gained 6 percentage points to 19% of black men. Black women, he have gained like 5 percentage points of black women. Black Hispanic men, 36%. Hispanic women, 30%. Asians, 38%. So people cannot discard Trump. You can't. You cannot, because once Trump go out on the campaign trail, he's going to be catering towards black men. Already they dealing with an immigration problem issue there. One one idea of him saying those migrants coming for black man jobs and it's difficult for, under me, unemployment was low, but Biden is getting all these migrants. He's going to give all of your jobs. Like, it's so many ideas that Trump can have to cater and campaign to get black men to vote for him. And even some black women, you can get it too. It's time that black folks have serious competition for their vote. We have not been appreciated by Democrats for decades. We have been neglected from the Democratic Party for decades. So now it's time to look at the other side. It's time for both parties to really, really, really fight for the black vote. All right. But we shall see. All right. I just had to say that. And with the illegal immigration problem, more black women and black men are going to vote Trump or don't vote at all. So that's how that's going to play out. Do I believe, let me say this because he was indicted on multiple charges. Do I believe Trump going to be in a prison jumpsuit? No, I don't believe it. Don't believe that at all, that Trump is going to be in a jumpsuit. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. He did even have a mugshot. All right. I don't believe that at all. Let's just keep that all the way clear. I don't believe he gonna have a mugshot. But let's move on from that. Okay. That is what I don't believe. I don't believe that man, because you didn't even see this man have a mugshot. He didn't get fingerprint. He didn't have a mugshot. So all this stuff that supposed to happen, him supposed to get this mugshot and all that. Usually when you go to prison, you get a mugshot, but this didn't happen for him. You supposed to get a mugshot. You supposed to, you know what I'm saying, fingerprinting and all of that. None of that happened. So this is, I don't see Trump getting a jumpsuit. I don't see that at all. Not at all. You can stop it with that. Now, LeBron James, y'all know who LeBron James is. A super NBA superstar, multiple NBA champion. But his school is failing. They can't pass a basic math test. They don't know 1 + 1 = 2. So they have been dragging LeBron James in the news. His school, I Promise School, have flunked the test, never passed it. All eighth graders have flunked the state math test. They can't pass the math test. Maybe LeBron James needs to get Joe Clark to be the principal. And they dig him up out the grave and let him be the principal. But they can't pass a basic math test. That means they can't hardly read. So with LeBron James, I want to say it's multiple reasons for this. Number one, um, LeBron James school has been dealing with so many issues. Number one, the Rona, the COVID, remote learning. A lot of schools are suffering from that because a lot of students got lost in the sauce from remote learning. A lot of those students, anyway, were already behind in math. They're doing a little bit better, but it's going to take time. You got to understand when you're bringing kids into a better environment with good schooling and all of that, it's a lot. It's on the parents, got to train them up as well. A lot of times, you're dealing with children that is not even on the eighth grade math level. There's some children that is out there. I was reading on a fourth grade, fifth grade math level. I was reading that is some kids on a reading level of sixth grade. They're in the eighth grade. Some is on a fifth grade reading level. They're not some high school students that are not even on a high school reading level. So it's a lot that is going on in our school system. Our school system is broken. A lot of students are behind even before COVID. They've been behind on in the books. So this is sad, but I don't blame LeBron James. I blame the system. Like, it's going to take time for those students to get caught up. I believe a lot of times those students need to have more tutoring services on the weekend, at night classes, to get caught up. And it's going to take a village. It's going to take the parents to get more involved, as well as the teachers. And also the reason why I have to give some blame to LeBron James, I mean, every eighth grader lost, so some blame is on for his school and the teachers and his administration there. Maybe he need to clean house and see other schools that have been flunking in math and they're thriving, to see what did they do to be successful. But when I look at this and when I see the article, when you say every eighth grader failed the test, what are they teaching those kids in that I primary school? What are they teaching them? I mean, it's been students in Baltimore that was flunking, and it's just in Chicago or some school districts, some districts, and that are flunking and behind. This is like a national trend in many parts of our country, that students are not on the proper level. They're just being pushed through like paper. But I cover this, and I know a lot of people, LeBron James, do not have day-to-day operations of the school, but he can use his power to get better people to run the school. But again, I will going to keep you updated with this. They say K-12 is not for little kids, and she shouldn't stay. Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot. When I'm looking, I'm really, really looking from this, because when I saw this article on here about LeBron James, it immediately made me like, oh my gosh, um, it's a lot, and they have put this on. Um, Give me a second. Because it was on, I think it was on eighth graders at LeBron I Promise School haven't passed a single math test in 3 years. The school respond. LeBron James Family Foundation I Promise School and Ohio has responded to recent media coverage of this discouraging test results. As first reported by a regional outlet, they said they soon to be eighth graders at the public school haven't passed the math part of their state exam since 2018-2019 school year. They said at that time, the report notes that students in question were third graders. A core key to the other time period in question is C19, the impact of the pandemic felt at schools nationwide, where many students and educators still adjusting to a changing landscape today. In fact, a source close to the situation tells Complex that reports focus on the available data from the time frame are in turn citing unreliable data. James Foundation first launched a Okra area school in 2018 with a focus on providing assistance to at-risk students. 1 year later, per reports at the time, test scores among students were shown to have increased dramatically. We are reuniting dreams that was okay. So this pretty much what the school said is definitely have improved. So we will get more information about this. Hopefully, the school succeed. You know what I'm saying? It's a good idea. A lot of our black are great at their story, but aren't fit to be black leaders or change the life for black people. Their wealth stay with the family only. Wow. Y'all are going to teachers can't take all the blame if they didn't try to get them up. Yeah, so LeBron himself isn't the smartest person. That's why they chose. Oh my gosh. Y'all is roasting. Let me move on. Y'all is roasting that man for Phil. Okay. They say I know guys, it was harder than ever during these times. Honestly, yeah, it's a lot. He can't say anything to pro-black because he gets paid by those people. LeBron needs an African school. Well, at least he got his school out. Okay, he got to get it together. Okay, I know y'all is dragging LeBron James in this comment. I didn't know y'all was dragging this man. Y'all was dragging him, Doctor. Baby, they dragging this man, Dr. Umar. Okay, at least he got his school.